Hi, Captain Steve for this week's Boat Test Reports. Thanks for being with us today. Our show this week is sponsored by the Steel Point Yacht and Charter Show, which is now serving Metro New York boaters with 2 boat shows a year. Let's start right in with the news. Big goings on in Congress recently as the Great American Outdoors Act passed with bipartisan support. This will bring up to $1.9 billion per year to cover a mounting backlog of maintenance to national parks, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Bureau of Indian Education, and other agencies. This is an important step in funding our outdoor infrastructure. Boat builders are creating what amounts to a Detroit of aluminum boat building next door to the Lake of the Ozarks. Lebanon, Missouri has now become the aluminum boat building capital of the world, with names such as Ranger, Landau Boats, Low Boats, G3, and of course, Tracker, which has been in the area since 1978. This can only be good news for consumers as the companies can work together to lower shipping and materials costs, as well as creating a highly trained workforce. So all the brands should be better than ever before. A full reopening of the Bahamas is slated for July 1st. In other Caribbean locations, the U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Lucia, and Antigua are already open. Bermuda is set to open on July 1st and Jamaica on July 15th, followed by the Turks and Caicos on July 22. Cuba is set to reopen in August to everyone except Americans because the U.S. government still has a ban on its citizens traveling to Cuba. Now some news right in Boat Test's backyard from today's sponsor, the Steel Point Yacht and Charter Show. It's the only invitation boat show in the world, and it made boating history by being the first boat show to open after the worldwide lockdown. The Steel Point Yacht and Charter Show lived up to its billing as a luxury show with upmarket ambiance and the most classy execution we've ever seen at an American boat show. It was an invitation-only show, something that worked well with the COVID-19 protection protocols, and this show made history because it was the first show to have been staged after the worldwide lockdown. Located at the Bridgeport Harbor Marina in the heart of Long Island Sound, the show marina is the closest deepwater yachting port to the city, so in that respect, it resembles England's Southampton boat show, just 60 miles south of London. Unlike most boat shows that try to pack in as many people as possible, the Steel Point Show's mission is just the opposite: to find only serious boat buyers and to eliminate the tens of thousands of day trippers. Show promoters report that just over 3,000 people attended the 3-day event, many of whom were Boat Test members. The queen of the show was the Sunseeker Manhattan 66 from Strong's Marine on Long Island. The boats on display ranged from a 20-foot bow rider to high-end luxury center consoles to economical Great Loop cruisers to a magnificent design. Making the show even more exciting were the 2 seaplanes and 3 helicopters that were all for charter. Flight board demos were available. A constant stream of live bands added to the ambiance. Exotic and antique cars were also on display for purchase, as well was an al fresco haircut. Scattered around the show were hospitality stands serving complimentary beverages and cocktails. Boat Test and Boat Test leasing staff were on hand for consultation and boat buying advice. And the finale of the show, a live auction that raised over $75,000 for local Bridgeport charities. If you missed the show, mark September 21st through 24th on your calendar for the next Steel Point Boat Show, which promises to be Metro New York's premier fall boat show. ePropulsion announced that the Spirit 1.0 Plus electric outboard motor is now available in the United States. ePropulsion tells us this electric outboard can reach up to approximately 5 knots with a range of 6.4 nautical miles and 1 hour, 15 minutes runtime at full speed. At lower speeds, runtime can extend to around 20 hours in a range of 46 nautical miles. Navionics adds high-resolution relief shading to its Platinum Plus and Hot Maps Platinum cartography line. It represents the first update since this exclusive Navionics content was launched in 2019. This premium content is now available for U.S. coastal waters and more than 150 lakes. Rio Yachts recently launched its redesigned Piranha 38. Features include convertible aft seating with plenty of open entertainment space ahead. This two-stateroom yacht can have either a single master or a double and single in the midship cabin. Of course, BoatTest exists because we want to help you make a more informed decision on the boats you purchase. In case you missed it, we did a review on an exciting new launch from Yamaha Boats, the 275 SD, the largest boat in the Yamaha watercraft lineup. It comes in 3 different versions, each with increasing levels of features, representing a number of firsts for Yamaha. The first with dual SVHO engines, their first 27-footer, and the first to use drive technology. The bow seating includes seats that are extra long due to the forward quarter cushions leaving plenty of room to stretch out. Each seat also includes a grab handle with an armrest that flips down, not up, which requires the latch to be released. There's a wide footwell thanks to the boat's 9-foot beam, 6 inches more than in the 242 series, allowing for plenty of room for a side-mount pedestal table that creates an entertaining venue forward. The cockpit entertaining area is quite spacious and practically laid out in the Yamaha 275 series to maximize its functionality. The companion seat amenities include 3 of the 19 cup holders on the boat, a USB port, a pocket for quick drop items, and a 2-inch aluminum grab handle. A courtesy light is above. Now to the side, we see another unusual design element that sets the Yamaha 275 SD apart from other runabouts in class. Note how the side windshield abuts the side window frame, creating a protected zone for the companion. The arched side window is slightly higher than my head and extends aft beyond the seat. This is a major and welcome design feature of the boat. The port console opens to reveal the head. There's 3 feet 8 inches of headroom and 2 feet 8 inches of sitting headroom. The portable toilet is standard. There's a countertop, pull-out shelf, closed and open storage, and a push-activated light above. Just behind the helm seat is a food prep console. That includes counter space. There are port and starboard bench seats that can seat as many as 7 people. Since both the companion seat and the helm seat swivel around, 2 more seats can be added to the party. Because of the boat's 9-foot beam, she's able to have a full 4 feet of deck space between the bench seats. All this is under the protection of the hardtop 7 feet 3 inches off the deck. Yamaha's latest innovation is dual-purpose table/seats that slip into brackets below the swim platform. In one position, they're elevated tables. In the down position, they're underwater seats. There's so much more to see on this boat, and it's all covered in our full features inspection and performance evaluation on BoatTEST.com. Now let's take a look at basic seamanship. Today's topic is a simple one, dock courtesy and how not to be that guy at your marina. The first consideration in dock courtesy is to make sure that your lines aren't going across the dock, creating a tripping hazard. First of all, it's unnecessary, and secondly, you really don't want somebody owning your boat by tripping over this. If you want, you can just twist it all up and make it look nice and yachty. There, isn't that special? The next thing you want to consider is touching other people's lines. People put a lot of care into tying their boat up just right, and when you mess with their lines, they don't like it. So now if you come on board, tie up to the dock and just throw your line over the piling, now this guy's got to take your line off to get his line off the piling. That's not a good idea. Instead, take your line and bring it up through his and then put it over the piling. Now, both of you can get your lines off whenever you want without touching the other guy's lines. Simple, courteous, and smart boating. Total Marine was started in 1971 by John Caruso, and it now has 3 locations, one in Norwalk, Connecticut, another in Stevensville, Maryland, and a third at Bahia Mar in Fort Lauderdale. Total Marine is a dealer for Fairline, Fountain, Donzi, and Twin V. Tom Caruso is the son of the founder who spends much of his time in the Norwalk location, and he joins us today to give his perspective on boat shows. Tom, thanks so much for joining us this morning. It's nice having you with us.
It's my pleasure.
Listen, you just exhibited several boats at the Steel Point Boat Show, which is the only invitation boat show in the world. How would you say it worked out for you?
We were very pleased. It was a nice event. The weather was fantastic, and it just had a really nice vibe to it. And as an exhibitor, I was quite pleased.
How would you characterize the people that were at the show?
Even if they weren't boaters, they were interested in boats. It was more of a, like, I guess, a lifestyle show than just a boat show, which to me is actually a plus. I think it just had a really nice vibe to it. It was a fun weekend. We enjoyed exhibiting at it, which is rare because most boat shows you're just exhausted and
Grueling, yeah.
not fun. Yeah.
How about the venue? Was it the Bridgeport Harbor Marina? What did you think of the facilities there?
Beautiful facility, very upscale. The facility is world class, a really nice facility.
Now, is there something about a boat show that gets people to finally bite the bullet and sign a contract? I mean, why are they so compelling for both consumers and dealers?
The typical boat show has always been kind of a necessary evil, and I've used this phrase in the past that as time goes on, they become less and less necessary and more evil and less effective as the costs go up. It does give people an opportunity to see the boats in the right environment, to maybe do a little bit of comparison shopping, but definitely a better venue and a better process than the typical boat show, because sometimes, particularly the big shows, are just overwhelming and you're just lost in the middle of it, and they really don't become effective selling tools anymore.
The management at Steel Point told us that it was 3,000 people that attended that show, but they had seaplanes and helicopter services as well as exotic cars. Do you think that distracted away from the boats?
Not at all. If anything, it improves the quality of the event. Problem you have at a typical boat show is you're competing with the other exhibitors for the dollars that the client might spend. And he's going to buy one boat. He's not buying 5 boats. But he might buy a boat and a car or a piece of jewelry or, something else at a lifestyle show.
Let's touch on the bigger shows again for a moment. I mean, 100,000 people attending a boat show, you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to exhibit at these shows. This can't be a great selling atmosphere, but it works. I mean, do you need to keep doing it?
I don't think it does work. Or certainly doesn't work the way it used to. And I think we've got to start thinking outside of the box. And I think most manufacturers, most dealerships are actually having this same conversation, and everyone's kind of afraid to be, one of the first to leave, because you then become kind of conspicuous by your absence. But in terms of the return on investment, it's poor. I don't think that carnival atmosphere at some of these big shows is quite appropriate for a purchase of that size.
Now, the NNMA, the Marine Manufacturers Association, say that only 1,600 new cruisers were sold in a year. Doesn't it seem odd to you that boat builders and dealers are spending so much money to reach so few buyers?
It's extremely odd. It's not at all cost effective. And you've got to think that the people that want to buy a boat are going to buy a boat anyway. They're not buying the boat because of the show. So for a lot of people, it becomes just an event. It's like a circus. You go to the show and you see it and you come home. But I don't know that is converting anyone into making a purchase that might not otherwise be inclined to make that purchase. So to me, it is not cost effective. I don't think it really creates the right environment. And I think that we're kind of onto something with this kind of delivery of the process of the product to the marketplace. I think the older ways just aren't working anymore, and I think this is a much more cost effective and appropriate for this type of product.
Interesting. Well, listen, Tom, this has been great talking to you about this. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to have this meeting with me.
I appreciate it as well. Thank you, Steve.
Now for some questions from the U.S. Coast Guard Captain's Exam. Let's see if you're a super captain or just a super wannabe. Our first question is, which buoy is lettered? A, a green can buoy, B, preferred channel buoy, C, red lighted buoy, or D, a green gong buoy? Well, the correct answer is B, the preferred channel buoy. We know that red buoys are even numbered, green are odd numbered, but a preferred channel buoy is both red and green, so it gets lettered. Look at the top color to determine which is the preferred channel and red right return. Next, spring tides are tides that A, have lows lower than normal and highs higher than normal, B, have lows higher than normal and highs lower than normal, C, are unpredictable, or D, occur in the spring of the year. And the answer is A, lows are lower and highs are higher. It occurs just after a full or new moon, causing the greatest difference between high and low water. The opposite is a neap tide, just after the first or third quarter, when there's the least difference between high and low. Well, that's our show for this week. As always, keep those questions, pictures, and videos coming. Stay safe, practice social distancing, and thanks for watching. As always, I'm Captain Steve, and I'll see you on the water.